Today, we're going to call this bad boy rocket liftoff. We're going to keep it quite simple though. We're only going to focus on the rocket actually taking off and the stars. We're not going to learn how to draw the rocket. I'm going to leave you to do that on your own. But if you want to follow along with me, what you're going to do is you're going to come to the URL shared or just copy paste all the code that I have here. And you're going to come and click fork. And this is going to make a copy of the version. And then you're going to have your rocket that you're going to be able to move around. In a similar way, we move shapes around regularly. If I define an X or Y rocket of different coordinates, it will move my rocket around. And that's how we're going to get this going. So to kick things off, we need to start with milestone 1, which is create the stars. We want to get this effect of these circles moving up. So it looks like we're going through space. The way we're going to do that is with circles. So I'm going to say circle. Let's put it anywhere on the screen for now. Let's say 100, 120. It flashes. I don't know if you saw that. That's because it's being drawn black and we have a black background. So if I just go full white, we'll get the circle back over there. And now we want it to move up the screen. So we've done this in a previous lesson. We did the Among Us thing. We can use a variable called frame count to make it increase. So if I replace my Y coordinate over here with frame count, I'm going to make my font a little bit bigger so you guys can make sure you guys can see. You'll see it starts moving because the frame count is always increasing as soon as you start the program. If you get rid of, oh, interesting. I wonder where, you can actually see a trail. Yeah, you can see the trail. It's very small, but there is a trail, which is pretty cool. So what we want to do here is we want to do this for multiple stars. And so I'm going to use variables here to make it a little bit simpler. I'm going to say y star 1. And then I'm going to say y star 1 is equal to frame count. And y star 1. Now let's copy paste this for a few stars. So let's get 5 stars, like 5. And now we need to create essentially for all the other guys. So y star 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. Y star 2, Y star 3, Y star 4, Y star 5, and they're too many. And then we need to change all of these guys. So this is going to be Y star 2, Y star 3, Y star 4, Y star 5. Okay, now they're all on top of one another, which is why this is happening. So then if we change our X, let's give it something random. Let's put this at 0, put you at 400, put you at 300, put you at 500. We get all of the stars that are moving across. Oh, that's my face. 0 doesn't look that great. Let's go 200. Okay. Now they're all aligned. If we want to change their alignment, we just need to change where it starts. So I'm going to say Y star 1, let's say it's going to start plus 100. So it's going to start 100 pixels ahead of these guys. Let's go for this one, it's 50 behind. This one, it's 30 ahead. This one, it's minus 431.8 behind. And this one is 78 ahead. Okay, now we get the stars moving that way. We want to be able to speed them up, or let's rather start. So now we want to be able to get them to reset when they reach the top. So we get them to reset is we want this whole of Y star 1, we want to modulus it. So I'm going to put this in brackets over here. Oh, I don't want to wrap that in brackets. I'm going to just put this in brackets. I'm going to say modulus height. And so that means whenever this value over here gets bigger than my height, it's going to start again. And so you'll see one of the stars should hit the top, and there you go, starts again. And so now we want to do these for mod height, mode height. Whoa, aggressive mod height. So let's keep it in lowercase over here. And mod height. Okay, now the stars are doing their thing. To speed them up, we multiply the frame count. So I'm going to say frame count times 2 to speed that one up a little bit. I want to slow this one down by 2. Let's say times by 1.2. Let's say this one is times by 1.8. And this one, let's say divided by 2 as well. And now we get the stars at different speeds going across. So we're getting this weird effect because it actually looks pretty cool because we don't have a background. So let's include a background, and that way it won't create the streak. There we go. Sweet. Okay, that is looking good for our stars. So we have stars. These are moving way quicker, I won't lie. But Okay, fine. We'll make it quicker. Let's make these all like super fast. And now they'll zoom ahead, except for this guy who we're gonna make super slow. Keep him there. Okay, next up is the launch. We want to first start with moving the rocket along with it. So in a similar way that we've moved the stars, we can move the rocket in the exact same way. All I need to do is change yRocket. If I put yRocket equals to mouse y, it's going to follow the y position of my mouse. So now if I just do the same and I make this frame count, the rocket is going to move up with the stars. There's that little shake, if you saw, that's happening. The rocket's like going side to side. So the way we're going to do that is introduce a little bit of randomness to its x position. So its x position is going to bounce around a little bit. And so what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say for my xRocket, it's at 300. I'm going to say plus random, and I'm going to give it a small negative number and a small positive. Let's go -3 and +3. And there you can see it's got this little rattle. That's because all the time the x is like going back and forth. So we get it looking like it's moving. Sweet. The next one is we want to count down the launch. So this is where we get fancy. This is where this project gets a little bit more involved, because now we're going to need to use if statements. So what we have is a beautiful thing called millis. So I'm going to bring back some text over here because I want to be able to show you something. So text, I'm going to put this at 200, 200, and I want to show off a variable called millis, like that. And now I'm going to just make the text size really big. Let's make it like 34. And do we see this? Where is my text? It might be because it's not being filled with anything. Oh yes, it's not. It's filled black at the moment, so we need to fill it white. So I'm just going to move the fill over there, and there we go. Okay, we can see our text coming. It's right now in front of the rocket, so let's just move it to all the way to the left. So I'm going to move the x to 0. Okay, sweet. When millis is counting, and notice you need to have these brackets, it's counting the number of milliseconds since the program started. There are 1,000 milliseconds in a second. So if I divide milliseconds, millis, by 1,000, I'm going to get the number of seconds since this program started. So I can make a variable for this. Let's say seconds is equal to millis divided by 1,000. And now, so this is going to track, I can replace this, and now this is going to track our seconds. But now notice we don't want this to count up. We want it to count down. If you have a look at our program, it goes lift off. We want to go lift off in 10, 9, 8, 7. So we want a similar effect. The way we achieve that is we want to subtract from the number. So if I say text of 10 minus seconds, what will happen now is as seconds increases, it's going to decrease from 10. So you can think about it, instead of counting up, I'm counting down. And now it can go 10, 9, 8. We have this weird thing of all of these decimal points that I don't want. So we're going to introduce as well. So I'm going to introduce a new variable. I'm going to say countdown is equal to seconds. Oh, is equal to seconds minus 10. And then I'm going to text countdown. Countdown. I don't know if I should use 1 word or 2 words for this, or the way it's okay. We won't deal with this for now. So not seconds minus 10, but 10 minus seconds. Okay, and now it's counting down from 10. We want to get rid of these decimal points. The way we do that is with something called round. So I'm going to wrap 10 minus seconds in a round thing, and and there we go. It rounds it automatically. So a round will just round it up to the nearest integer, nearest like one whole number, 1, 2, 3, 4, and get rid of them. So now we get this countdown, and it'll keep going, which is great. So we're making some progress here. We want to say, okay, lift off in, and we want the text to actually be red. So let's go full red, and then we're going to need to fill white, so our circles are white instead of red. Okay, and we want to be able to say text count lift off in. And we want that to be just above where this guy is. So let's move this all a little bit to the left. So let's just say that this is at an x of 20 and a y of 250. Yeah, there we go. And let's move this to 20. There we go. Cool. So we have our countdown, and we're saying lift off in 7, 6, 5, 4. Now, how do we have the rocket so that it just stays, and only when this reaches 0 do we actually take off? That's where we're going to use if statements. So in order to do that, what I need to say is if seconds is less than 0. So if countdown, sorry, not seconds. If countdown is less than 0, then we want to take off. Else we just want to draw it. So the way we then are going to take off is we just need to make yRocket equal to frame count. So what I can say here, I wonder if this will work. So I'm going to say yRocket is equal to frame count. And otherwise, let's make this 0. And now, okay, let's see if this works. So you'll notice that if this isn't true, this line of code doesn't run. So yRocket is not equal to frame count. When, okay, what actually ended up happening is it jumped because frame count was like really big. So we actually need to figure out how do we get it to move slowly once we get there. So to get this to work in the way that it doesn't just shoot off, because what's happening here is that the frame count when liftoff gets to 0 is already big. So it automatically just pushes the rocket off into the abyss. We need to bring it back down to 0. What's interesting is the way this program runs is it runs at 60 frames per second. So every time that there is a second, 60 frames will pass. We're waiting 10 seconds for liftoff. So that means the frame count when we have liftoff is 600. So if I just say yRocket is equal to frame count minus 600, it will now bring it down, or bring essentially the new frame count, or what's the yRocket, down to 0 when it starts. And now it will take off nicely and start moving in this. I want to change, though, what the text is saying. So right now it keeps saying liftoff. I want to otherwise say we have liftoff. So this is where I'm going to use an else statement. So I'm going to say else, and I'm going to say, well, let's bring this text into the else. So when this is not true, this code will run. And when this is true, the code will run. And now we just want text, and we want to say we have liftoff. And we can put that as well at 200 and 250. Let's make sure that this is working. Wait for liftoff. And yes, okay, beautiful. We have liftoff. So now we have this working with the countdown. The next part is the smoke. Oh, no, sorry, is the fire coming out. So I'm going to leave you guys to do the smoke, but let's get this fire coming out. So it's like this rectangle that's like changing color slightly and moving across. So we only want the fire to come out when this happens. So only when the rocket has actually taken off do we want to draw the fire. We want to use rect, and now here's what's interesting. We want the position of the rectangle. So the rectangle, we specify the bottom left corner. So it needs to be from where the rocket starts, which is at 0, 0. Its width is going to be the width of our rocket. And to tell that, we can see it's over here. So this is our width, because this is the rocket body. It's 100. So the width of our fire needs to be 100. The Y, we want the Y to come up to the current Y position of the rocket. We want it to be where the rocket is. So that's going to be yRocket for that. Now, let's see. Okay, right now the liftoff is taking very long. So I want to actually take down, instead of countdown starting from 10, I want to start from 5. Let's go from 3. But then we also need to change this number, because now we're only waiting 3 seconds. Then you notice it starts way before because we've subtracted 600, so we're negative. It's our fire. Completely wrong place. If we have it to be 3 seconds, we need 3 times by 60. So then it is going to be 180. Okay, and now, so why is this not working? Oh, because we need the X coordinate to be correct. So xRocket. Let's just move that to where xRocket is. And let's see what that looks like. There we go. Okay, cool. The shaking is a bit much. I want to reduce the shaking. Let's bring it down to +1 and -1 so that it is not crazy. There we go. Okay. Now the rectangle varies in color. And if anything, you'll notice that there's a bit of a transparency to it. So the way in which we're going to do a transparency is with RGB. So when I say fill and I give it red, so red is 25500, that's going to be red, green, blue. So that's the max value for red. If I give it, I think it's a value between 0 and 1. So if I give it 1, it will be not transparent at all. Oh no, it's completely transparent at 1. I was completely wrong. So there we can't see anything. We see right through it. If we make it 0, it will be the full color, because we'll see what is happening here. Maybe it's to 100. We might need to ask the AI for help here. Okay, no, what is happening? So we're going to ask the AI for help, how to control the transparency of a color. And now, hopefully this. Yeah, this is what I did. Oh, that is interesting. Okay. I wonder, maybe it's not to 100. Oh, it's 0 to 255. So I think 255. Oh, Dave, you did actually see some red. Did we figure this out together? Okay, it's up to 255, not 100. That is why. What we want is to make this something like 40. Or no, let's make it like 100. And it should be relatively transparent. Yes. Okay, now you can see that. And we wanted now to change color a little bit. So, well, essentially, let's see. I wonder, actually, how can I remove boundaries? Because it's got this, like, it's shifting between this white and orange. Let's ask the AI for this. Like, I'm going to ask, how can I randomize color such that it looks like different shades of fire? Let's see what we get from this. Okay, so we're going to use the random function. We know that much. Okay. Okay, so it's giving us essentially just ranges. It's giving us ranges for red and green on how we can do this. Wow, I love how it knows the flames. How does it know that this is the flames? AI is absurd. Like, we've said nothing that this is the flames. Unbelievable. Okay, we're gonna put this. And so essentially, yeah, what it's saying is take a random color for red, take a random color for green in a certain range. That combination within that range will give us a fire-like color. And so I'm going to just copy paste that code. I'm going to replace it over here for what we're filling the fire with. And let's make sure all of our indentation is right. So I'm just going to do that and that. And now let's see what color we get. Beautiful. Okay, it's not the best. It looks cool, but you get the point. I'm going to leave you guys if you want to do the clouds and to see what other effects you can add here. Otherwise, we're going to end here.